Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from the Korman Productions Deep Dive TV podcast. My co-host Stacie here to talk about Revival, Season 1, Episode 3, titled Reality Check. The episode's description reads as follows. As Wazoo fractures, Dana's search brings her into conflict with a dangerous local family. Is that how you pronounce that?
I really don't think that's how you pronounce it.
Do you know how you pronounce it?
I know it's not Wazoo.
Okay.
I think it's Wausau.
Wausau? Okay. I'll go
like
with
that.
I'll try to go with
They've
Wausau.
said it a couple times.
Right.
But it is a weird spelling.
Right. The series was created by Aaron Kuntz and Luke Boyce, and the episode was written by Noelle Carbone. This is the first episode of the series not to be written by the series creators. She's actually a co-producer on the series as well, and she's listed as having written episode 7 as well. She was a producer on Winona Earp, which is a show that you brought up a couple of times, and she also wrote 4 episodes of that series. Is that series still ongoing, or is that?
There's like a new series. Like the main series, I think, ended, and now there's a spin-off series.
Oh, okay.
Or something like that. I don't watch it.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
All right.
But there's multiple series.
Okay, gotcha. The episode is directed by Amanda Rowe for the 3rd episode in a row. Before we go further, I'll tell you a couple things. One, this is not for a podcast, so if you haven't watched the episode, I highly recommend you go check it out. And then come back and give us a listen. Secondly, if you're listening on the platforms of this podcast now, we want, please follow. And feel free to check out our YouTube channel, Korman Productions, where additional content can be discovered. If you're already on our YouTube channel, please like, share, and comment, and subscribe to our channel. All right, so shout out for Debbury for the 2nd week in a row, who commented that the show is getting better and better as it goes along.
Yeah.
And I got a shout out for my friend of the channel and personal friend, Carla Mack. She started a Kickstarter campaign for a short film called Breakthrough, which stars William B. Davis. Genre fans should know who he is. He actually teaches in an acting school in Canada, as well as having starred in as Cancer Man in The X-Files, as well as a part in Continuum. The short's description reads as follows. A Jewish American soldier and a young German boy soldier are stuck in a foxhole together and form an unlikely friendship. If you're interested in contributing to the Kickstarter, I will provide the link for you guys, so go and check that out.
All right.
All right, so Stacie, your thoughts on this week's episode?
I feel like that they're doing a good job every week of continuing to build story and build a mystery. I like that we're getting some of this kind of nonlinear storytelling, but also that it's not punching us in the face as like the main thing we're doing.
I'm definitely glad they're not punching us in the face, that's for sure.
So like both last week and this week, we get like these kind of smaller flashbacks, right? We're filling in the gaps of what happened on Revival Day and leading up to it, without it being a full-on case of, This Is Us, where you have to like track the timelines.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like they're doing a good job of that and trying to just sprinkle in the clues as they're learning them, we're learning them. We're all kind of trying to solve this mystery together. I like what we're doing with the characters. I feel like everybody's characters are growing and we're getting to know them better.
Yes.
And
which is particularly good in the case of Wayne, who in the first couple of episodes was just shouting all the time.
Yeah.
And I know that David James Elliott, the actor who plays him, is capable of more than that. I've seen him in a few things, so I know he's a good actor. And they're adding some nuance to his character in this episode, which I do appreciate.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's there. We're definitely going deeper into things as we go along about the situation, and I do appreciate that as well. They ask some questions or give some answers to questions that I was curious about, like how do you react to someone who comes back to life? When your a family member dies and comes back to life, how do you react to that situation? And it's really not what I would expect at all. Like I would figure the reactions would be different, but I'm not. That is not a criticism.
Different people are going to respond in different ways.
It's interesting. It's not what I would expect. That's not by any means a criticism, but it's definitely something that I found interesting while watching this episode. Do you have anything else to say before diving in?
Oh, we might as well just go for it. I'm sure we have lots and lots to say as we go, including a whole other half page of new characters to talk about.
Yes. So we begin the story with Kay telling her story to Dana about being at the Creek's house with Dorothy.
Check. Their name is Check.
Check. I didn't mean cheek. I mean, whatever I said.
You said creek.
I did not mean creek.
The family's name is Check that
Right.
we meet this family, as in the title of the episode, which is Reality Check.
Right. And Dorothy Check is showing off one of their paintings to Martha and Kay. Dorothy is played by Wendy Lyon, 54 credits for her, including the movie Regression, The Shape of Water, and an appearance on Tech War.
She also was in 8 episodes of Designated Survivor and an episode of Warehouse 13.
M goes to the bathroom, and then they proceed to rob them for a big stash of drugs.
Specifically, M does.
Right, yes.
K is like, what the frack are you doing?
Right.
That's not playing it cool. I told you to be cool. This is where M got the bag of 1,000 pills that Dana found last week.
Yep. And they narrowly avoid getting shot by Andrew Check, who's played by Matt Willis. 16 credits for him, including 5 episodes of Chucky, which I was not going to bring up because I figured you would. But then I had nothing else to say, so I just went with it. And the movie Simon Birch.
He also was in 1 episode of Anne with an E and 5 episodes of Tin Star.
Kay's theory is because they stole the drugs from the Checks that they ended up killing M. Dana doesn't buy the story, doesn't buy that her sister would be involved with this at all.
Yeah, she's like, my sister would never steal from a drug dealer.
And Kay very smugly says, well, maybe you don't know your sister as much as you think you do.
Lady.
And then credits. After the credits, she's looking into the checks when Carlisle brings her coffee. Carlisle, of course, played by Mark Little. He asks if she thinks that they're going to catch Arlene at the Check's house, and that's why he's looking into her.
Right, because the entire police force is trying to find Arlene, and she's busy looking at drug dealer files.
Right. She says it's for another case. Carlisle says it must be a doozy since they have a long rap sheet, though they've been quiet since Revival Day, and she basically chalks it up to their big brother Anthony being caught on the other side of the quarantine, and thus not being able to communicate and, basically direct the family. Though there is a thing called phone, so he could have just easily done that. In fact, she ends up calling him on that later on. So
yeah, but they're not gonna, make big illegal moves through the phone because phones can be tapped.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so at Cooper's school, the kids are talking about Jordan and what their parents are saying. They're basically talking about the gossip about Jordan. Cooper's getting pissed, and you know what I like about the Cooper character is he kind of looks like the kid that'd be picked on, maybe bullied, but he never once gets bullied.
He might be the kid that was bullied before we had a dead girl to make fun of.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's getting pissed and saying, hey, your parents should stop talking about it. Jordan isn't sure if she's supposed to read the notes that are in her locker up. These are basically, I guess, memorializing her.
RIP stuff.
Right. And basically Cooper says, everyone was sad when you died. And Jordan asks, well, then why aren't people happy that I'm alive? And that's a very interesting and sad question at the same time.
Right.
The kids start approaching Jordan. They're basically ready to cut her to see.
The one boy that's like the main bully here, and I don't know who he is. There were several people in this episode I couldn't match up because they don't tell us his name. I have names of characters, but I don't know who they are. One of them is this boy, I assume. He wants to stab her with a pencil, just to see her heal.
Which I guess that's common knowledge now.
Right. We were told before, that secret CDC, don't tell anybody, but everybody appears to know it at this point.
Right. So in order to stop that, Cooper ends up slamming one of them in the nose with a locker, and it looks kind of like he breaks the kid's nose.
Yeah, it was. He shut him down.
Right. Dana goes and talks to the Czechs, specifically Dorothy. Andrew comes downstairs. They exchange insults, and he threatens. Basically tells her to back off the family or there'll be another dead Cypress. Now, this could be read to mean that he is the one that killed M.
Which is how Dana takes it.
But it also could be a reference to the fact that their mother died as well.
Right, which is what we're kind of told later, and that's how I took it. I definitely thought he was talking about the mom.
Yeah, when Kay was suggesting the Czechs were the ones who killed M, I didn't buy it.
It was too easy, I think.
Yes, yeah. And it was out of nowhere.
So. I don't feel like we're going to get an answer that quickly and easily.
Mm-hmm.
One thing Andrew does is he gives Dana a comic book. This is a hack/comic saying it's a free gift with her purchase because she's purchasing one of the chicken paintings to appease the mom. And he uses this as his threat. He says the hero in the comic kills everyone messing with their family. So it's basically like, mess with my family and you're going to die, right?
Very subtle.
Here's my take on this. It appears that the hero he's talking about in the comic book is the female character.
Interesting. Okay.
So I think this is just kind of foreshadowing that M is going to be the one protecting her family.
Okay.
And maybe killing people who, go after cypresses.
You think the series is going to get that dark?
I maybe not like.
She's going to turn into a serial killer?
Maybe not like trying to kill people, but she's going to be the one protecting her family. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like it's going to go the opposite direction of what Andrew is suggesting, because we have this family feud now. Also, I want to point out that Hack Slash is a real comic series by Image Comics that's also written by Tim Seeley, who did Revival.
Mm-hmm.
And the cover shown is actually the first issue published by Image after it was taken over from a different publisher. It came out in 2010. And so that was a nice little Easter egg.
Nice.
They used another related title.
I'm actually kind of curious if we're going to see the checks again, or if this is like it for them.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're going to see them again, because like the main actor that they're promoting as being part of this family, we haven't seen in person yet.
Oh, okay.
So
gotcha.
They made a pretty big deal that he's part of the cast, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be more than a phone call we get from him.
All right. So Dana is called to the school about Cooper, who wants basically is this the principal or?
This is Principal Kruger.
Okay.
Who was credited in episode 1.
Didn't appear?
We talked about his credits there, but I didn't see him in episode 1, so maybe they caught his scene in episode 1.
Okay.
But yeah, he's played by Liam McNamara, and again, we talked about his credits in episode 1.
All right, so basically he wants to suspend Cooper for the rest of the week because of his little fight with the kids. Dana asks Cooper what happened, and he reveals that he was defending Jordan. Dana turns around and is pissed at the principal instead, who then reveals his own prejudice against revivers. Dana is told her parents were called an hour ago, and nobody came and got Jordan. So Dana takes her to her parents. Cooper plays with her in her room while the parents talk. The parents were not overjoyed when the daughter came back to life, and basically says that Jordan came back differently. Now,
wrong is the word they use.
Right. Basically, these characters seem like highly religious characters.
Yes, we have lots of hints that they are very religious. We've got like religious statues in the yard hanging on the wall behind them, and they think that their daughter who came back to life is just some abomination. Right. That she is not sent by God. Right. That their daughter is very much dead and gone, and this is just evil that was sent back to them. Even though they have no reason to think that. Right. I mean, Jordan seems perfectly pleasant. I mean, other than Arlene, there's been no evidence whatsoever that anybody that's a reviver is dangerous. Right. But yet, there's this whole prejudice against them, which, goes to, I think that's realistic in the sense that people don't necessarily always have to have, credible reasons to be suspicious of someone. That's just kind of human nature. Religion's definitely going to play a factor in this story and in the two camps of how we look at revivers. I'm going to point out that the kid that was bullying Jordan, the one that got his nose broken, he had said that his mom heard on the radio show that revivers are demons. So that's Blaine. Right. That's Blaine Abel's radio show. Right, yes. Spewing that, the revivers are evil demons and we have to fight against them. Right. So definitely these characters listen to that. Right. They're going to be part of that cult, I'm sure. The parents, Carol, the last name is Borchardt. That's Jordan's last name. She is played by Bridget Bezanson. This is only her 4th acting credit, including 1 episode of Time Watch and 9 episodes of The Secret of Og. In Mr. Borchardt, which I think I'm saying that wrong, is played by Zachary Bennett. He's done some voice work, 3 episodes of Umbrella Academy, and 4 episodes of Designated Survivor. So Dana is very saddened by Jordan's parents' attitudes and basically says that, you guys have it easy. Your daughter came back to life. She's worth loving, and I hope you find it in your heart to do exactly that. So Dana's attitude towards revivers is, I'm actually kind of curious what her attitude was before she found out her sister had died and became a reviver. Right. But as of right now,
she's very much on the opposite side of her father, for
Right,
instance.
because we know Dad thinks they're kind of demons too.
Right.
Maybe not to the religious extent, but he's concerned about them and thinks they might be dangerous. I have a question,
Okay.
which doesn't necessarily come up in this conversation, but this is where I thought of it and wrote it. Are the revivers going to age?
That is an interesting question. If they heal,
If their cells are
yeah,
regenerate to the state right before they died,
uh,
right, which is why they can't be injured beyond anything they had before the moment of death, I feel like they're not going to be able to age.
So Arlene is basically going to stay in the state that she's in for the rest of her existence
forever. Are they immortal?
That would be very sad.
Like, we know they can't die from a wound, but
Right.
are they literally immortal? And is Jordan going to be this little girl forever?
That would really suck. Yeah, that is an interesting question. When I'm not sure we're going to get explored this season, but
hopefully the show gets a lot of seasons and it is something to explore. But also that will be a problem because I promise you
yes.
that Jordan's actress, Flora McEnroy, is going to get bigger.
Well, maybe they can prevent that somehow. But anyway, I doubt it. But yeah. So moving on from that. Yeah, so after in the car, Cooper asks if they can go for milkshakes, and Dana's incredulous, and so am I. Like, not for nothing, but you did, you break some kids'
You got suspended.
Right. So maybe there should be some punishment here. But at the same time,
she supports the fact that he was standing up against a bully.
If my kid comes to me, like, she's gotten into trouble for doing the right thing, I'm not going to punish her for it.
Right.
But
maybe you're not going to reward it either.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would. My next move would be to go and get milkshakes. But Dana says she has some work that she has to do, and that she's going to drop him off with Noah. Is that what she says? Okay. Meanwhile,
the bartender.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Abraham is doing science stuff.
Science.
And wants to go check out a hypothesis by visiting Bob Dittman. Bob Dittman, who's shown to be very much alive.
Very much alive, not unconscious, at home.
Right.
So I don't know what happened to the plot point last week of if he wakes up, let's talk to him. We skipped that, apparently.
So he wants to go with Dana to the Dittmans, but no such luck. Instead, Wayne ends up agreeing to tag along. At the Dittmans' home, we see Bob, very much alive. Wayne tries to keep him back while Abraham does what he's there to do. Abraham ends up stumbling into a room where we see some restraints, and we get the sense that that's where she was restrained. I'm actually convinced now that she was restrained even before she died.
Yeah, that's my note here. It was like, is this before or after she died and came back? Because we know after she came back, they were hiding her and restraining her.
I'm thinking it was both.
What was the situation before she died, right?
I mean, I can't imagine it was very good. And we, get some hints about, or we actually find out what happened to Arlene. So I'm pretty sure she was restrained before and after.
What a sad story.
Yeah.
I want to point out this scene of him saying he's going to go to the bathroom to check the water there and then stumbling into this bedroom very much mirrors the opening scene of M in the check house.
Oh, yes.
She was walking to the bathroom and then she stumbled into the bedroom where she found the drugs.
Right.
So I feel like they do some really good presenting of these visuals.
Oh yeah, the visuals are awesome in this episode. The
whole series.
Yes,
has been
exactly.
Great.
I'm a big Amanda Rowe fan now. I'm looking forward to seeing more of her work. But yeah, basically Bob finds him in that room, points a shotgun at him.
Right.
He basically has a standoff with Abraham, who's basically pissing himself right now. And then Wayne basically has to step in and get Bob Dittman's gun away, which he does in a very interesting way. It's not like he tackles him or like shoots him. He just basically takes the gun right out of Bob Dittman's hands.
Well, they're buddies,
right?
We can see that they have some kind of rapport.
But Bob ends up threatening him as well, like, hey,
Yeah, like, hey, I'm gonna get you demoted or whatever.
Yeah, basically, there's an election coming up, and you might not be on the ballot or something along those lines. But
and what what he does to try and talk his way out of what he's doing in the bedroom is he says he's admiring the photo of the horse on the wall.
Huh.
Of course, this is the horse that died. What Bob says is it was his prize horse until his reviver bitch mother-in-law killed it with her bare hands.
Yeah. So I'm getting this feeling that Bob is not a great guy.
Wasn't a big Arlene fan.
So I was rooting.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I was rooting for him to still be alive, but not so much. Anyway.
And also note there is a bottle. There's all sorts of medications on the table. We see a bottle of powder, and Abraham snatches it without either Wayne or Bob noticing.
So M wakes up at Brody's. He reveals he died from an infection, but M won't exactly talk about how she died, and it's mostly because she doesn't really even know. M says that her sister thinks that she jumped, and initially Brody goes on the assumption that that's her basically saying that she did in fact jump.
His name is Rhodey.
Rhodey.
No B.
No B. Okay, Rhodey. My bad. And basically he starts to try to get her to remember what happened. M says he probably doesn't have time for this, to help her figure out this mystery. But Rhodey says that he does in fact have time before the concert.
And she picks up on something. Because she's trying to figure out, did I jump? Did I kill myself?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And she's looking at his hand because he was showing off this scar he has on his hand from the cut that led to the infection that killed him.
Right.
So he has this kind of really nasty, pussy scar that's just going to be there forever.
Awesome.
It's not a dried up old scar. It's it still looks like an active infection because he had it before he died.
Yeah.
And she realizes something. She says, if I had jumped or fallen off of the bridge, all of my bones in my body would have broken into a bajillion pieces before I died.
Right.
So I couldn't have done that.
Would she have been basically just a liquefied mess for the rest of her existence?
Or I'd still have, signs of broken bones, which is something I had questioned. Remember, I had asked, what happened if, you were mutilated immediately before death?
Right.
The things that lead up to death isn't usually instantaneous.
Right.
Usually things are pretty bad right before you die.
Yes. So that's an interesting question. That means there must be some other sign on her of her death.
I mean, who knows? But she's pretty convinced now that it's not that she fell off of or pushed or jumped off of the bridge.
Right. I don't know. You must heal in some fashion after you die if you're a reviver, because any damage is gonna.
Because almost every cause of death has something before the moment of death.
Right. Yes. So you have to heal somewhat.
It's one of those things that I think we can't look at too hard.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So Dana goes out to the bridge, and we have haunting music played. This is a beautiful shot, by the way. This is a very cinematic series, I find. The funeral for Terry Dittman, Bob is speaking, and is interrupted by Arlene, who ends up snapping Bob's neck. Bob totally 100% deserved that. Wayne tries to stop her with bullets, but they are ineffective. Blaine shows up as Arlene crawls into the coffin with Terry, again demonstrating that she does still have some humanity.
Right. She couldn't resist coming to her daughter's funeral, even though she knows she's in hiding. She's trying to get close to her daughter, even though she's the one who killed her.
Right. And Blaine sets Arlene and the body of Terry ablaze.
And Wayne just kind of watches in horror. Now, here's my thing. He was shooting her. Aim for the head. Now, even though these aren't traditional zombies, I'm pretty sure we're still kind of, and we know that's not going to put them down for good. We know that cutting her head off worked once. The top of her head was cut off, and she was down for a day.
Right.
So maybe aiming for the head is the right way to neutralize a reviver, at least temporarily.
All right. So Abraham's assistant, Carla, tells Wayne that it will take a while to separate the bodies of Terry and Arlene, but they will hold Arlene in a separate room in restraints when they can. And then what are they going to do with her?
Well, right.
Is she ever going to die?
I mean, this isn't the CDC's problem after that. Their problem is Carla learned from what happened last week.
Right.
They're not going to just leave her on a morgue table again.
So, I mean, basically, if she's immortal, are they just going to have to keep her chained up for the rest of her existence?
Maybe they can find some way to reverse the poisoning,
Right.
but can they? Because nothing is going to affect her.
Yeah.
This is very complicated to
Yeah.
think about.
Right. And I'm going to move on because I'm already getting a headache. The mayor is flabbergasted that she would recover from being burnt to a crisp. But yes, of course she will because she died. She recovered from getting her head chopped off. So,
Right. Carla says her
yeah.
burns are already starting to heal.
Dana tells him that Wayne, meanwhile, is being held for public endangerment, but the charges, according to Wayne, won't stick. What he's saying on his radio show is that he's protecting the public, and he basically thinks that Wayne isn't wrong there. Wayne could not stop Arlene. The governor tries to, and what's the governor's
This
name
is
again?
Governor June Harris. She's played by Shauna McDonald. She was in 3 episodes of 11/22/63, 2 episodes of Being Erica, and she was in Saw 6 and 7.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, she basically arrives to hear Wayne and the mayor's argument for what to do about the reviver situation.
Because remember, Wayne called her last
Right,
week and called
yes.
in a favor.
Abraham comes in with tests about Arlene, and he basically reveals that Arlene had mercury in her system, and that was basically what caused her derangement.
And the powder he snatched had mercury in it.
Right.
So he postulates that Rob was poisoning Arlene, which is what triggered her psychosis, made her aggressive and crazy, and also what killed her.
Right. So he's basically saying the revivers are not inherently dangerous, that Arlene's situation is unique, and he basically stays to argue that they can't do what Wayne is basically calling for. They can't. That it is their obligation to protect these people because they are citizens, which is something that Wayne seems to be forgetting. That it's also his job to protect the revivers every bit as much as everybody else.
Right.
But Wayne is calling for these people to basically be locked up. The governor tells them to basically find all revivers, to tag them and monitor them, basically comparing them to sharks.
Yeah, she says it worked during Shark Week. It'll work here too. And she says Arlene wasn't even on the registry.
Right.
So she thinks that's their first and foremost problem is they don't even know who all the revivers are.
Right.
Which is true. They don't know about M. So
right.
if Arlene wasn't on the registry because she was murdered and never reported as dead, and M wasn't on the registry, there's probably others.
Right.
Now I'm going to tell us that brings us to 49 total.
Gotcha.
Because we had 47 on the registry. Arlene and M makes 49. It's probably more.
Yeah, you'd assume.
But the fact that we started with 47, that's kind of a link to From 4 and 7.
That's right. Book 47 was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 4 and the 7 separately coming up all the time.
So basically Abraham and the mayor are against this. They argue with this. I'm going to point out that Abraham isn't actually part of leadership and actually shouldn't be here.
He's only here because he marched in with some new information.
But I think he actually came in with that new information specifically to argue this case as
well.
Right,
because he wants to tell the governor.
Right,
because he already knows that Wayne's going to just shoot him down if he tells him privately.
So she goes on to say, if any revivers show signs of aggression, they can be moved to a place of her choosing. Okay, that's a can of worms for sure.
Right.
Like any signs of aggression, so one of them gets mad.
Yeah, so she gave him permission to do exactly what he wanted to do, which is just lock them up if you want to.
Right. Abraham calls this is the authorization of internment camps. The governor says big bold moves will clean up and calm down the situation. Despite basically winning this argument, Wayne doesn't actually look happy with the result. And the mayor is like, are you happy now? And basically Abraham and Wayne leave. We have a wide shot, which is very lovely, of Wayne sitting in the room alone. He does not look happy. He looks very conflicted. It's like he got what he wanted, but now he's kind of like
he still has to deal with it.
It's not just that, but I'm not sure that he totally believes that he's doing the right thing. Despite arguing
I
for
feel like Wayne's gonna come around.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're gonna, his character's the one that is really kind of against them, and he's conflicted. But we'll see even later, like when Blaine is comparing them, he's like, "I'm nothing like you."
Right.
I think he's gonna realize that it's not black and white.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for them or against them.
Right.
And especially once he learns, his daughter's one. I think he's gonna come around and realize that Blaine is crazy.
What I'm saying is, I kind of actually think that process is already starting. That he's not exactly happy with the can of worms he just opened up.
Right.
But
And you know what? I'm really surprised that they haven't brought in state and federal agents
Well, that's the other
to
thing. That's the other
police
thing.
this town
All
at
right.
this point.
So the CDC is a government agent,
Right.
correct?
They're
Like a
the
federal
government,
government.
but they're here like for the science. They're
Right.
not here to police the town.
Yeah, that's the other thing is I'm not totally sure the governor would have the authority to authorize this. I think that would have to be like higher up. Like,
Well, that's the thing. They haven't brought in the feds, FBI, CIA. None of them are here.
why not though?
That's my question.
Why do they even need to be invited? Like, there's a situation
That's
where
my
people
question
came
is
back to
why
life.
is the federal government not
already
here
involved? Yeah.
on a police state?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you would think that they would have some interest in the situation
Right.
where a bunch of people came back to life.
You're right. Like the CDC is here, yes,
Right. So
but that's our only federal involvement.
there should be more.
And we don't even have a state involvement until he called a favor from the governor to come intervene.
Right. This is
Like
not.
there's not even state troopers coming to take part in this.
You don't have any evidence that this situation that happened in this town isn't going to reoccur elsewhere.
Right.
So this is very much a federal interest.
But as far as policing it, they're
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, the small
Right.
town, the sheriff, he can handle it.
Right. All right. So Noah tells Dina where her sister was going and says she was with a person in a band. Of course, this is Rhodey. At the concert, Rhodey.
And we got this this hint about dating musicians. Dana was like, oh, I told her not a musician. And Nella's like, well, maybe it's genetic. And
Yeah.
Dana hopes not. So I'm pretty sure that means Cooper's father was a musician.
I'm sure. At the concert, Rhodey gets up to perform, and then he makes a huge cut in himself with a knife. And I'm not really sure how Emma is reacting to this.
She didn't know how to. Okay, so before he even went on stage, she told him she was uncomfortable just being here. She says she's never been at a concert before. She's never been in a club before because she's, has this terribly, very dangerous health condition where she has to, live in a bubble and be covered in bubble wrap. And the Czech brothers are there, by the way. They're watching all this. But, yeah, she looks kind of mortified when he does it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's at the act itself, if it's at doing it so publicly.
Right. Maybe thinking that he should be more in the closet than he is.
Yeah. But then the crowd cheers, and she gets into it. And she's suddenly very excited. Now, here's my take on this. I get that he's going to heal right away, and this is like a good show, but it still has to hurt.
Yes.
He cuts through his entire chest and stomach, all the layers, and then puts his hand inside and starts playing with his organs.
I mean, like I said in the last couple episodes, just because you can do this doesn't mean you have to.
Right? And you don't know if it's just going to stop working one day.
Right, exactly. So Dana also comes in to find him doing this, and she looks very disturbed. We do see Andrew and Adam check in the scene, and they end up seeing M. They approach her, and Brody sees this and calls it out, says, hey, they're harassing my girlfriend. Dana intervenes and takes Adam away, and Adam is, by the way, is played by Joe Deflin. 21 credits for him, including Thanksgiving, which is a movie we probably will eventually cover.
Yeah.
Despite
because we're running out of Thanksgiving-themed things to cover.
Right. 11/22/63. I actually think I got the numbers right there.
I think you did.
And an episode of The Strain.
As well as one episode of 12 Monkeys. I thought you were going to mirror me exactly there. Almost.
Nope. I was. Yeah, there were a couple of candidates. I'm like, she might say that one. She might also say that one. So yeah, I lucked out. All right. So Em and Brody go to the bridge to hang out. She suggests getting out of the middle of the road because they don't want to get run over. Because despite the fact that they will get healed, it will hurt if they get run over.
And they could hurt the person in the car.
That's also a factor. Yes. Dana takes Adam to interrogate.
And they kiss. Don't skip that.
Yes, they kiss.
They kiss. Their first kiss.
Dana takes Adam to interrogation, who would be going away for a third strike.
Yeah, so basically she found a bunch of drugs on him, enough to make a third felony case if she chooses to.
He says he didn't know who M was until he recognized her at the club. So in other words, they did not know that M was actually Dana's sister.
Right. Which I find hard to believe.
Yeah, that's what he's claiming anyway.
Right. Dana because Andrew and Dana went to school together. And
doesn't necessarily mean that you know the siblings.
Right, but we've got three brothers who are different ages.
Right.
Her and her sister are different ages. You'd think one of them would have known M.
Right. So she ends up having him call Anthony to make a deal. She will return the drugs that M stole, and she will let his brother, go in exchange for leaving her family alone. And Anthony ends up agreeing to this deal. Somehow, I don't buy his sincerity.
Well, I also pretty sure they didn't kill M.
Right.
So he's like, yeah, we'll leave you. Because I don't think they were going to kill anybody. I think those were, empty threats.
Okay.
Like, they're drug dealers, right? They're not the mob.
By the way, who is Anthony played by?
Anthony Check is played by Phil Brooks, also known as CM Punk.
Okay, gotcha.
Who is of course, very famous wrestler. He's appeared in 133 episodes of SmackDown, 259 episodes of Raw, as well as tons and tons of other specials and things. As far as acting, he's done Girl on the Third Floor and Let's Start a Cult.
Okay.
And I'm sure we're actually going to get to see CM Punk at some point.
Yes, I'm sure. He is listed as one of the credits in the Internet Movie Database page. Like, his name is there.
Yeah, he was listed in the opening credits for this episode. But it was just a voice credit because we don't get to meet Anthony yet.
Right. So Abraham, meanwhile, seems frustrated and then grabs a sample of the Mill Creek water. I'm not sure what's going on here.
It's like mold, algae, something. So he had checked it in the morning.
Okay.
It's like the same day or whatever.
Gotcha.
And there wasn't anything growing, and now it's suddenly super aggressively growing. So whatever's growing, again, I don't know if it's mold, algae.
Maybe it's a person.
Science stuff.
Right.
It's a big blob now.
Right. Dana looks at her sleeping son Cooper when she gets a text from a mysterious person calling him or her a friend, telling her that M is safe with him. I'm assuming this is.
Well, that's not how I write it at all.
No.
What I read is, "Hey, it's me, M.
Oh.
I'm writing you from a friend's phone."
Oh, okay. So I just read that completely wrong. Okay, so the phone that she's
because remember, she doesn't have her phone.
Right.
She tossed it.
Gotcha. And
so she's texting from Rhodey's phone. Is what I got out of it.
We have screeners, and I'm pretty sure this was a unfinished effect. But I didn't read that properly. I guess I basically had to.
I could have got it wrong, but usually it's the other way around.
No, you're right. So
either way, she got the message. Like, hey, M is safe.
Gotcha. So on the bridge, Brody decides to jump and encourages M to do so. As she falls, she remembers Blaine being on the bridge, and then she's consumed by water. That's another little shot that I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a good shot. She's falling backwards, and they both did this weird thing where they fall backwards, which was weird. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever seen that being the position of choice for someone jumping off a bridge.
I usually try to go feet first, or
do you jump off a lot of bridges? You usually.
When I have jumped off things, it's usually trying to go feet first.
Please don't jump off bridges, though.
I generally
make it a diving board.
I generally
something
avoid.
You're meant to jump off of.
I generally avoid jumping off bridges. Don't worry.
So they jump backwards, and I think the whole point was so she can see the moon while she's jumping, which prompts the memory of the headlights. Because previously she had remembered headlights coming, but didn't remember who it was or anything else about it. And now seeing the moon prompted that memory, and she saw Blaine Abel being the person who stopped on the bridge that night. So did he kill her? Probably not.
Right. No, this is probably another red herring, but I assume that if she saw him,
he's part of the story.
Right. He had to have actually been there.
Yeah, this is, again, I'm pretty sure we're just unraveling all these little clues. And I think it's going to take the entire season for us to get to the mystery of what happened to M that night.
Right. All right. So meanwhile, Blaine is being released by Wayne. He tells Wayne that he doesn't know it yet, but the two of them are on the same side. Wayne begs to differ, and then he's joined by his disciples. Blaine asks the assembled crowd, "So, who's ready for a holy war?" And the crowd cheers, and that's where our episode ends.
And I want to know if there's one young man in the crowd who looks pretty uncomfortable. The camera focuses on him. We don't find out who he is. I think I know who he is, though, just based on the credits.
Okay.
Let me see. I still have a few credits to go through. I think this is the character of Tyler Barrow. Tyler's played by Lucas Velasquez, and he is credited in this episode, but I didn't figure out who Tyler is. But based on his picture, his IMDb picture, I think that was him. So I
Gotcha.
think that's going to become a character we're focusing on next because the camera ended like on him, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and Luca was in one episode of The Boys, 6 episodes of the 2019 Ghost Rider series,
Okay.
and 6 episodes of Channel Zero.
All right. Do we have some other cast notes that we missed?
Couple more. Yep, and these are people who I didn't match up who they are. One of them, I think, is that boy that was bullying Jordan.
Okay.
But a lot of these people don't have pictures on IMDb, so that's not helpful.
That does not help.
We have a character of Noah, played by Jack Doucette, and we actually already talked about him because he was credited in episode 1, and you couldn't match him up there, and I still can't match him up.
Okay.
So I don't know who Noah is, but there he was again somewhere.
It actually would make sense if he were the kid.
I thought so, and I feel like I did find a picture of who I think is Jack Doucette.
Okay.
I was doing some research. I was really trying.
Because that kid was definitely in the first episode.
And I think I thought that, and there's no picture on IMDb, and I could be remembering this wrong because my notes don't go this detailed, but I feel like I found Jack Doucette on like Instagram or something.
Okay.
And it's not a kid.
No. Okay.
So I don't know. I couldn't unravel the mystery. They'll remain on the mystery list another week at least. Then we also have the character of Doug. I don't know who Doug is. Doug was played by Sheldon Garland. He was in 5 episodes of Pasadena and a movie called Anonymous Zombie.
Okay.
And then we have a character named Brandon, who's played by Michael Stafford. And I couldn't match him up on IMDb. There were several actors with that name. So
Gotcha.
I have no idea.
Okay. And is that all?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Do we have anything else to say before concluding?
Let's see. This is episode 3, so we've got 7 more episodes.
Yep, that's likely. Yep.
It feels like they're moving along. I feel like they're really trying to pack the story in, which makes me feel confident that we're not going to have any stale or boring episodes. The story's going to keep evolving. I think it's going to be packed full of a mixture of everything. You know, like we said, we've got action, we've got comedy.
Well, that's the thing
we've got mystery and puzzle box.
Right. That's the thing with like why I'm. A lot of people complain about having shorter seasons and not having 22 episodes anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm not in that camp because I think that like shorter seasons leads to more focused storytelling.
Usually,
unless we're talking like something like Sullivan's Crossing. Love that series, but it's not the height of storytelling. But when you have less episodes, you have less filler, theoretically speaking. If you want to tell a story, you have less time to do it in.
Right.
So
you have to get to it.
Yes, exactly.
And I feel like they're doing a great job of getting to it in this series.
Absolutely. Yep. I don't know what kind of reception the series is receiving or if it's even getting noticed yet. I sure hope it is because I would like to see the series continue. I think it's a quality series.
Yeah, it's definitely turning out to be a fun watch. Mm-hmm. And I am eager to keep watching it and see where this mystery goes. Mm-hmm. And, we've got a lot of different little stories going on. It's not like literally just one thing and then we finish it and then it's like, now what?
Right, yeah.
It's like there's all kinds of directions they could go. Because we have like 50 characters that we're dealing with.
Right, yeah.
And we've only met like 3 of them as far as, the revivers go.
Yeah, so 3 episodes down, 3 pretty solid episodes of television for sure.
Yeah.
And looking forward to the rest of the season. All right, I think that's a good place to end it. Stacie can be reached at?
I can be reached on Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at TVN Coupon Talk. And don't forget to join my Revival Facebook group. It's Revival SyFy series fans.
All right, we'd like to hear from you. What did you think of this podcast? What did you think of this episode? If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. You can join the Core Productions Facebook page. You can join Stacie's group, the Revival group. And you can buy something from the Core Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a coffee. You can join the Core Productions membership for 99 cents a month. And, of course, you can like, share, and comment on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. This is Dave and Stacie from Core Productions, signing off.